The fourth time my mother-in-law mentioned the cruise, I was elbow-deep in soapy dishwater while she lounged at the kitchen table, dabbing imaginary tears from her eyes. I should have seen it coming, the way she lingered after dinner, the theatrical sighs, the meaningful glances at the travel magazine she'd deliberately left open on the counter. I'm Vivian, and I've spent the last 6 years learning the art of navigating Brenda's emotional manipulation. Usually, I manage it with gritted teeth and forced smiles, but tonight was different. "You know," she said, voice trembling perfectly on cue, "Margaret from church just got back from the Caribbean. The photos were just—" She trailed off, staring wistfully through our kitchen window. "I suppose I'll just sit in this house and die, then, while others enjoy the world." The plate I was washing clinked a little too loudly against the sink. Behind me, I heard Hayden shift uncomfortably in his chair. My wonderful, conflict-avoidant husband, who still hadn't learned that his mother's guilt trips were as calculated as tax season. "Mom," he started, but she cut him off with a wave. No, it's fine. I understand that some people have different priorities." She picked up her phone, thumbs moving rapidly. "I just thought, what with Vivian's promotion?" I turned around, drying my hands on a dish towel. "Brenda, we've discussed this. That promotion means more responsibility, not just more money. We're trying to save for—" "Of course you are, dear." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "And I'm just an old woman who never got to travel while your father-in-law was alive. Glenn always promised me that cruise." She dabbed at her eyes again. Hayden reached for her hand. "Mom, please don't—" "I said it's fine!" She stood up, gathering her purse and cardigan with shaking hands. "I should go. It's getting late, and clearly I'm just upsetting everyone." Before either of us could respond, she was heading for the door, each step a masterclass in martyred dignity. The silence after she left felt heavy, loaded with unspoken words. "Viv," Hayden said quietly. "She didn't mean it like that." I kept wiping the counter, focusing on a particularly stubborn spot. "She never means it like that, does she?" "She's just lonely, and you know how hard it's been since Dad—" "It's been 3 years, Hayden." I turned to face him. "And somehow, the cruise only became essential after my promotion." He ran a hand through his hair, his tell when he's stressed. "Can we just not do this tonight, please?" I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. We finished cleaning in silence, the tension thick enough to cut with one of the knives I'd just washed. Later that night, as Hayden slept beside me, I made the mistake of checking Facebook. There it was, posted exactly 17 minutes after she'd left our house. Some people forget what it means to support aging parents, sitting here alone, wondering where family loyalty went these days, praying for guidance in these trying times. No tags, of course, but the comments were already rolling in. "Stay strong, Brenda!" "Some people just don't understand family values anymore." "Call me if you need to talk." I closed the app and stared at the ceiling, counting backward from 100 to keep my blood pressure in check. Tomorrow, Ainsley would see it. Then, the aunts. Then, the cousins. By next week's family dinner, I'd be the heartless daughter-in-law who wouldn't help poor, widowed Brenda see the world. My phone buzzed with a text from Jasmine. "You okay? Saw the post. She's really laying it on thick this time." I typed back, "Just another Tuesday with Brenda." But it wasn't just another Tuesday. As I lay there in the dark, listening to Hayden's steady breathing. Something shifted inside me. 6 years of swallowing my responses, of being the bigger person, of watching Brenda play the victim while painting me as the villain. It was enough. My phone buzzed again. Jasmine. Want me to comment? I can accidentally mention that Caribbean cruise she took last year. Not yet, I replied, but keep that receipt handy. I put my phone away and smiled in the darkness. Brenda wanted to play the poor, neglected mother-in-law. Fine, but she'd forgotten one crucial detail about me. I worked in marketing. I knew all about crafting narratives and controlling stories, and I had receipts. So many receipts. Sunday family dinners were Brenda's favorite battlefield. I could feel the shift in atmosphere the moment Hayden and I walked through her front door, the way conversations hushed, the pointed looks, the artificial brightness in everyone's greetings. Vivian, so glad you could make it, Ainsley chirped, her smile sharp as a paper cut. We weren't sure if you'd be too busy with work. I handed her the wine bottle I'd brought. Wouldn't miss it. The living room was a minefield of passive-aggressive small talk. Aunt Carol asked about my fancy new office, emphasizing how different it must be from modest teaching, like what Hayden does. Uncle Pete wondered aloud if career women ever regret putting success before family. Brenda orchestrated it all from her armchair throne, nodding sympathetically at every barb thrown my way. Remember when Hayden used to volunteer at the senior center? Ainsley said during dinner, pushing her peas around. He was so generous before... She caught herself, but the damage was done. Before what? I asked pleasantly. Fork paused halfway to my mouth. Before marriage? Silence descended over the table. Hayden suddenly became very interested in his mashed potatoes. Oh, sweetheart. Brenda dabbed at her eyes with a napkin. No one's saying that. We're just reminiscing. After dinner, I escaped to the kitchen to help with dishes. Brenda followed, closing the door behind her. Vivian, dear, could we talk? I kept scrubbing a casserole dish. Of course. I've been thinking about what you said about the promotion. She leaned against the counter, voice dropping to a confidential whisper. I know things are tight, but family helps family. Things aren't tight, Brenda. We're just being responsible with our money. Responsible? She laughed softly. Is that what you call it? Well, I'm here, struggling to make ends meet. I put down the dish and turned to face her. Are you struggling? Because last month you bought a new living room set. That was different. This cruise. Her eyes welled up. It was Glenn's dream for us. He wanted to take me before he... She pressed a hand to her chest. I'm not paying for your cruise. The tears vanished. Excuse me? You heard me. I dried my hands. I'm not funding your vacation. Not now, not ever. Her face hardened. I see. Well, I suppose I know where I stand now. She turned to leave, then paused. You know, Glenn always said you can tell a person's character by how they treat their elders. Funny. I thought you could tell it by how they manipulate their family. She left without another word. I waited a few minutes before following, but as I approached the living room, I heard her on the phone in the hallway. You won't believe what just happened, Margaret. Yes, the same one. My daughter-in-law, sitting on all that money while I'm practically begging to see the world before I die. Glenn would be heartbroken. I texted Jasmine. Need to talk. Now. Coming over with wine? She replied immediately. Back in the living room, Hayden was deep in conversation with Ainsley, who kept shooting me concerned glances. I touched his shoulder. Ready to go? The drive home was quiet until Hayden spoke. Mom seemed upset. Did she tell you why? No, but then maybe ask her before assuming it's my fault. He sighed. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. At home, Jasmine was waiting on our porch with 2 bottles of red and a determined expression. Spill everything, she demanded as soon as we were inside. I told her about dinner, the kitchen confrontation, the phone call. With each detail, her eyes narrowed further. This woman is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, she said, pouring generous glasses. And she's using your promotion as ammunition. I know. I took a long sip. The thing is, something doesn't add up. Remember last year when her roof needed repairs? When she guilted everyone into contributing because she was destitute? Right. But then she remodeled her bathroom 2 months later. Jasmine sat up straighter. And the new furniture? Exactly. I pulled out my phone, showing her Brenda's recent Facebook posts. Look at all these modest little treats she keeps buying herself, for someone who's supposedly struggling. Time to do some digging? Jasmine raised an eyebrow. I nodded. I know someone in HR who's good with financial records. Public ones, nothing illegal. Good. Jasmine clinked her glass against mine. Because I'm tired of watching you play defense in a game she rigged. My phone buzzed. Another group text from Brenda. Feeling blessed to have such loving family, most of them anyway. I showed it to Jasmine, who snorted. Oh, honey, she has no idea what's coming, does she? No, I smiled. She really doesn't. You want me to what now? Terence leaned back in his office chair, eyebrows raised. I'd cornered him during lunch break, armed with coffee and his favorite donuts. Just run a basic public records search. Nothing illegal, nothing private. I know you do this kind of thing for the company all the time. For background checks, sure. He took a bite of donut, considering. But your mother-in-law... She's been crying poverty while renovating her house. Something's not adding up, and I need to know what. He wiped sugar from his fingers. And your husband can't just ask her? Huh? Hayden. I sighed. He has a blind spot when it comes to his mother. Besides, she'd just lie. Fair enough. He turned to his computer. What's her full name and date of birth? 20 minutes later, we were staring at a screen full of public financial records. Terence's fingers flew across the keyboard, cross-referencing dates and account numbers. Well, he muttered. Look at this. He pointed to a dormant account at Western Union Bank. See these regular deposits? They've been going in monthly for the past 7 years. Small amounts, but they add up. I leaned closer. How much total? Let me calculate. He typed rapidly. Just over $23,000. My coffee went cold on his desk as we dug deeper. The pattern was clear. Regular deposits, carefully spread across different accounts, always just under amounts that would trigger reporting requirements. She's not exactly breaking any laws, Terence said, but she's definitely been building a nest egg while crying broke to the family. My phone buzzed. Another group text from Brenda. So blessed by those who offered to help with my medical bills last month. God provides through generous hearts. Medical bills? Terence glanced at my phone. The same month this account shows a spa resort charge? I stood up, gathering the printouts. Thanks, Terence. I owe you. Just promise me front row seats when this all comes out. That evening, I drove to Brenda's house, knowing she'd be at her weekly bridge game. The spare key was still under the ceramic frog. Some habits never change. I wasn't proud of snooping, but I needed concrete proof. Her kitchen trash yielded exactly what I was looking for: a glossy cruise line brochure, creased and coffee-stained, but it was the post-it note stuck to it that made my hands shake. Paid in installments. Final payment due 9/15. I photographed everything before leaving, making sure to replace items exactly as I'd found them. Back in my car, I called Jasmine. "You're not going to believe this," I said when she answered. "Try me." I told her everything: the hidden account, the regular deposits, the cruise brochure. "That manipulative witch," Jasmine breathed. "She's been playing everyone this whole time." Playing us like a symphony orchestra. I started the car, and using my promotion as an excuse to squeeze more money out of us. "You have to tell Hayden." "I know, but he's not going to want to believe it." "Then make him believe it. You have proof now." When I got home, Hayden was grading papers at the kitchen table. He looked up with a smile that faded when he saw my expression. "Everything okay?" I sat down across from him. "We need to talk about your mom." "Viv, please." "She's been lying to us, to everyone." I pulled out the printouts. "And I can prove it." He pushed away the papers without looking at them. "She's always kept a little money tucked away. It's her security blanket, especially since Dad died. A little money? Try $23,000. That got his attention. "What?" "While she was asking family to help with her roof, while she was guilting us about medical bills, while she's been demanding cruise money." I spread out the documents. "Look at the dates, Hayden. Look at the amounts." His phone rang before he could respond. Brenda's name lit up the screen. He answered on speaker. "Hayden?" Her voice trembled. I needed to hear your voice. I've been sitting here alone, thinking about how things used to be, before Vivian started turning you against me." I watched his face as she continued, tears evident in her voice. "We were such a close family once. I just pray every night that you'll remember that." Hayden's hand shook as he ended the call. He stared at the financial records spread across the table, then at his phone, then at me. "I need some air," he said quietly, and walked out. I didn't stop him. Instead, I texted Jasmine. "It started. No turning back now." She replied immediately. "Good. Time to show her what happens when you mess with the wrong daughter-in-law." I looked at the cruise brochure photo on my phone and smiled. Sometimes karma needs a little push, and I was ready to start pushing. Hayden came home 3 hours later, smelling like the beer from his favorite thinking spot, the pub 2 blocks away. He sat heavily on the couch beside me. "I called Ainsley," he said. My stomach tightened. "And?" "She said Mom helped her with a down payment on her car last year. $5,000. He rubbed his face. "While telling me she couldn't afford her medications." "I'm sorry, Hayden." "Are you?" He looked at me sideways. "Because you seem pretty pleased about all this." "I'm pleased about exposing the truth, not about hurting you." He was quiet for a long moment. "Show me everything again." I spread the documents across the coffee table, walking him through each discovery: the hidden account, the regular deposits, the withdrawal dates that matched her various emergencies. "See this?" I pointed to a particular statement. "The week she told us she needed help with property taxes, she booked a spa weekend. She's always had a little tucked away," he said weakly. It's her security blanket. Stop making excuses for her. I pulled up Facebook on my phone. Look at her post from 2 days ago. The photo showed Brenda looking forlorn in her garden, counting pennies for groceries this week, so grateful for my church's food pantry. Now look at her credit card statement from the same day. His eyes widened at the upscale restaurant charge. She's not just lying, Hayden. She's systematically manipulating everyone while building up her own savings. But why? His voice cracked. Why would she do this? Control, attention, because she can. I touched his arm, because no one's ever called her out. His phone buzzed. Another message from Brenda. He read it aloud. Sleepless night thinking of you, my boy. Remember when you were little and scared? Mommy always made everything better. I miss those days. Classic manipulation, I said. She's infantilizing you, trying to trigger childhood memories to regain control. Stop analyzing my mother like she's one of your marketing campaigns. Then stop letting her manipulate you like you're still 5 years old. We stared at each other, both surprised by my outburst. His phone buzzed again. Ainsley, this time. Mom's hysterical, he read. Says she can feel you pulling away. Says Vivian's poisoning your mind. I stood up and started pacing. You know what? Let's call her. Right now. Ask her about the cruise she's already paying for in installments. What cruise? I showed him the brochure photos. The one she's been guilt-tripping us to fund, even though she's already booking it herself. He studied the photos, his face hardening. The post-it note. Yep. Final payment due next month, while she's posting about counting pennies for groceries. His phone rang. Brenda again. This time he didn't answer. I need to show you something else, I said, pulling up my laptop. Terence helped me track more transactions. We spent the next hour following the money trail. Each revelation hit Hayden like a physical blow. The hidden purchases, the fake emergencies, the calculated timing of her guilt trips. Last Christmas, he said suddenly, when she said she couldn't afford her heart medication, she was in Vegas. I pulled up the hotel receipt. 3 nights at the Bellagio. He stood up abruptly and walked to the window. I gave her $800 for those medications. I know. I picked up extra tutoring shifts to help her. I know that too. His phone buzzed with a voicemail notification. We both watched as he played it on speaker. Hayden? Brenda's voice was thick with tears. Baby, please answer my calls. Vivian is turning you against me. We were such a close family before she came along. I'm not sleeping. I'm barely eating. Is this what you want? To kill your mother with worry? I think I need to go to the emergency room. My heart... I deleted the voicemail before it finished. Enough. Hayden didn't protest. He just kept staring out the window. We need to end this, I said quietly. All of it. The manipulation, the lies, the guilt trips. How? I have an idea, but you're not going to like it. He turned to face me. Will it hurt her? Only her pride and her control over the family. He nodded slowly. Tell me. First, I said, we need to gather everyone. Your sister, the aunts, everyone she's been playing against each other. And then... And then? I smiled grimly. And then we're going to have a nice family dinner. His phone buzzed one more time. Another Facebook notification. Brenda had posted a photo of herself, holding an old picture of Hayden as a child. A mother's love is forever. Some people may try to break that bond, but they'll never succeed. Hayden turned off his phone. When's dinner? I called it my folder of truth, a sleek black portfolio containing every scrap of evidence I'd collected, bank statements, credit card records, social media posts, photographs, all meticulously organized and cross-referenced. Jasmine watched me arrange everything on our dining room table. "You're really going to do this?" she asked. "Watch me." I added the cruise brochure to the pile. "I've got copies for everyone." "Brenda's going to lose her mind. That's counting on her having one to lose." My phone lit up with a text from Terrence. "Found something else. Check your email." The attachment made me whistle. Well, well. Looks like Mommy Dearest has been dabbling in online gambling too. "Seriously?" Jasmine peered at my screen. "While crying poor?" $5,000 last month alone. I added the printout to my folder. Right before she posted about needing help with her electric bill, Hayden came downstairs, looking pale but determined. "Ainsley's coming early. She wants to see the evidence before everyone else arrives." "Good." I checked my watch. "She should be here any—" The doorbell rang. Ainsley burst in like a storm cloud. "This better be good, Vivian. Mom's been calling me all morning, crying about family betrayal." "Sit down," I said, pulling out a chair. "You're going to want to see this." For the next hour, we walked her through everything. The hidden account, the gambling, the fake emergencies, the calculated manipulation. With each revelation, her face grew darker. "That car down payment," she said finally. "The one she gave me." "Let me guess. She told you not to tell Hayden." Ainsley nodded. "Said it would hurt him to know she could help me, but not him." Classic divide and conquer. I showed her the timeline. She was playing us against each other the whole time. "I'm going to be sick." Ainsley pushed away from the table. "All those times I defended her. All those nasty comments I made about you." "Water under the bridge," I said. "What matters is what we do now." The doorbell rang again. Aunt Carol and Uncle Pete arrived first, followed by cousins Sarah and Mike. Each reaction was the same: shock, denial, anger, acceptance. By the time everyone had gone through the evidence, the living room hummed with betrayed fury. "The Christmas medication money," Aunt Carol said. "I gave her $300. "Vegas trip," I confirmed. "My kid's college fund donation?" Uncle Pete's face was red. "Spa weekend." Hayden stood up. "Everyone clear about what we're doing?" Nods all around. Ainsley wiped her eyes. "She's going to hate this." "She's going to hate being exposed," I corrected. "Different thing." My phone buzzed. Brenda. "Looking forward to dinner, dear. Should I bring my famous casserole?" "Perfect timing," I muttered, then typed back. "That would be lovely. Everyone's excited to see you." Jasmine helped me make copies of everything while the others talked quietly among themselves. The mood was somber but resolved, like soldiers preparing for battle. "You know she's going to play the victim," Hayden said quietly. "Let her." I straightened the folders. "We have truth on our side." "I still can't believe." He picked up the Vegas receipts. All those times I worried about her being alone, struggling. "She counted on that." I touched his hand. "She counted on your good heart." The doorbell rang one final time. Everyone fell silent. "Ready?" I asked the room. Hayden squeezed my hand. "Ready." I opened the door to find Brenda standing there, casserole in hand, wearing her best martyred expression. "Oh, sweetheart, the whole family's here. What a lovely surprise. Come in, Brenda. I took the casserole. We have so much to talk about. She swept into the living room, arms outstretched. My dear family, I've missed you all so much. You know, I was just saying my prayers this morning. She stopped short, finally registering the expressions on everyone's faces. Her eyes darted to the folders on the coffee table, then to Hayden's stern expression, then to Ainsley's tear-stained face. What's going on? I closed the door with a soft click. Why don't you sit down, Brenda? We're going to have a little family meeting about honesty. Her face went through a rapid series of expressions: confusion, fear, calculation, and finally, her default, victim mode. I don't understand, she quavered. Why is everyone looking at me like that? Hayden, baby, what's happening? I picked up the first folder. Let's start with Vegas, shall we? Vegas. Brenda's laugh was brittle. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never... December 23rd, 26th. I read from the printout. Bellagio Hotel and Casino. 3 nights. Premium suite. Would you like to see the receipts? She waved a dismissive hand. That's private information. How dare you spy on me? Public records, Mom, Hayden said quietly. Just like the $23,000 you've been squirreling away. While begging for medication money, Ainsley added. Brenda's head snapped toward her daughter. Ainsley, you too? After everything I've done for you? You mean like the car down payment you used to turn me against Hayden? I was protecting you. You were manipulating us. Hayden cut in. All of us. I started passing out folders. Everyone here has a copy of everything. Bank statements, credit card records, social media posts. It's amazing how much evidence you leave when you think no one's paying attention. Brenda's face went from pale to red. This is ridiculous. I'm a widow. I struggle every day. To decide which luxury purchase to hide next? Uncle Pete stood up, waving his folder. We have the receipts, Brenda. All of them. The Christmas gifts you couldn't afford, Aunt Carol added. The property tax emergency, Cousin Sarah chimed in. The medical bills, Mike finished. Brenda's eyes darted around the room like a trapped animal's. You don't understand. I needed security. After Glenn died. Don't. Hayden's voice was steel. Don't you dare use Dad to justify this. And the cruise? I pulled out the brochure, the one you're already paying for in installments while guilt-tripping us to fund it. The room went deadly quiet. Brenda's face crumpled into well-practiced tears. I can't believe my own family would attack me like this, after everything I've sacrificed. She pressed a trembling hand to her chest. My heart. I can't breathe. Save the performance, Ainsley snapped. Your heart condition didn't stop you from hitting the slots in Vegas. Or the spa weekend in March, I added. Or the shopping spree last month, Uncle Pete said. Brenda switched tactics, her tears vanishing. Fine, I saved money. Is that a crime? I'm alone in this world. I need protection. Protection? Hayden stood up. You made me work extra shifts for medication you didn't need. I needed to know you cared. By lying? By manipulating everyone? By turning us against each other? I did what I had to do. She turned to the others. You understand, don't you? A mother's love. Stop! I laid the final document on the table. This isn't love, Brenda. This is control, and it ends today. She grabbed her purse, standing shakily. I don't have to listen to this. I'm leaving. Sit down. Hayden's voice cracked like a whip. For once in your life, you're going to face consequences." "Consequences?" She laughed hysterically. "From you? My own son?" "From all of us," Ainsley said. "No more money, no more guilt trips, no more manipulation, and no more secrets," I added. "Everyone here knows everything now." Brenda's face contorted. "This is your doing." She jabbed a finger at me. "You've poisoned my family against me. You're a predator who's turned my son against his own mother." "No, Mom," Hayden said quietly. "You did that all by yourself." She looked around the room one last time, seeing nothing but resolved faces. Then she grabbed her purse and ran for the door, sobs echoing behind her. The silence that followed was deafening. "Well," Jasmine said from her corner, "that was something." Aunt Carol picked up her folder. "What do we do now?" "Now," I said, "we make sure she can't play us against each other anymore. Complete transparency. No more secret gifts. No more emergency funds." "And the cruise?" Sarah asked. I smiled. "Let her take it. Alone. With her own money." "She won't," Hayden said. "It was never about the cruise. It was about control." Ainsley checked her phone. "She's already posting on Facebook. Heartbroken by family betrayal. Pray for those who hurt their own mother." "Let her post," I said. "We have the truth now." As everyone gathered their things, sharing hugs and quiet words of support, I watched Hayden. He stood at the window, staring at nothing. "You okay?" I touched his arm. "No," he said honestly, "but I will be." He turned to me. "Thank you for being brave enough to do what I couldn't." I hugged him, feeling the tension in his shoulders. Sometimes love means facing hard truths. "Speaking of truth," he managed a small smile, "what should we do with all that money we're not spending on Mom's cruise?" I grinned. "Funny you should ask. I have some ideas." The fallout was swift and absolute. Within days, Brenda's carefully constructed social media empire began to crumble. Her dramatic posts about betrayal and abandonment weren't getting the usual sympathy responses. Instead, family members started commenting with receipts, literal and metaphorical. "Remember when you said you couldn't afford groceries?" Aunt Carol posted beneath one of Brenda's tearful selfies. "That was the same week you bought a designer handbag." The family group chat fell silent. No more guilt-tripping messages, no more passive-aggressive memes about ungrateful children. Even Brenda's weekly bridge club started meeting without her. "She showed up at my house yesterday," Ainsley told me over coffee. "Tried to give me another check. And I tore it up in front of her." Ainsley smiled grimly. "Told her I'd rather have an honest mother than a manipulative ATM. My phone buzzed. A message from Sarah. "Heads up, Aunt Brenda's telling people you hacked her bank accounts." "Let her," I texted back. "Public records are public for a reason." Hayden was handling it better than I'd expected. He'd started therapy, working through years of manipulation and guilt. The night he finally blocked his mother's number, he slept through the night for the first time in weeks. "Look what came in the mail," he said one morning, holding up an envelope. Inside was a cruise line brochure, the same one Brenda had been using to guilt us. But this one was different. This one was ours. "Greece?" I looked at him in surprise. He grinned. 2 weeks? All that money we were saving for Mom's guilt trips? I figured we deserved something nice instead. "What about work?" "Already cleared it with the principal. And before you ask, yes, I checked with your office too. Terrence may have helped." I hugged him hard. You sneaky thing. There's more. He pulled out his phone. Ainsley and Mike want to come. Sarah and her husband too. We're thinking family vacation, just without the family drama this time. A notification popped up on my phone. Another desperate attempt from Brenda, this time through a flying monkey. Your mother-in-law is in tears. She's all alone. How can you be so cruel? I showed it to Hayden, who shrugged. Funny how she's always alone despite having that secret Vegas gambling buddy. Speaking of which, I pulled up my email. Terence found more records. Seems she's been making regular trips there for years, always when she claimed to be visiting her sick friend in Phoenix. Of course she was. He shook his head. You know what? I don't even care anymore. Let her gamble. Let her cruise. Let her do whatever she wants, with her own money. And her own guilt trips? Those too. I picked up the cruise brochure, admiring the photos of blue Mediterranean waters. Think she'll try to crash our vacation when she finds out? Already handled it. He smiled. Nobody knows where we're going except the people coming with us. As far as Mom's concerned, we're doing a staycation. My phone buzzed again, this time a message from an unknown number. Hi, Vivian. This is Margaret from Brenda's church. I just wanted you to know, we always suspected something wasn't right. Thank you for standing up to her. Many of us have similar stories. I showed it to Hayden. Looks like we weren't the only ones. No surprise there. He started pulling up cruise excursions on his laptop. Hey, what do you think about sunset sailing in Santorini? The doorbell rang. We both tensed. It had become a reflex lately, but it was just Jasmine, holding up a bottle of champagne. Celebration time, she announced. Just saw Brenda's latest Facebook post. She's taken a social media break to heal from toxic people. Translation. Her lies aren't working anymore, I said, grabbing glasses. Exactly. Jasmine poured the champagne. And I heard through the grapevine that her bridge club finally called her out on all those emergency loan requests. We clinked glasses, and I felt the last bit of tension leave my shoulders. The war was over, and truth had won. Later that night, I sat down to write one final message to Brenda. Not for her manipulation, not for her drama, but for myself. You wanted a cruise. I delivered the storm instead. Enjoy your solo voyage through the consequences of your actions. Don't expect any rescue boats from us. I sealed it in an envelope, added the torn pieces of her cruise brochure, and dropped it in her mailbox. Ready to pack? Hayden called from upstairs. I smiled, thinking of Mediterranean beaches and family dinners without manipulation for seasoning. More than ready, I called back. Time for our own adventure. Let Brenda sail her sea of lies alone. We had clearer waters ahead. The Santorini sunset painted the white buildings in shades of gold and pink as our family gathered for dinner on the restaurant terrace. Ainsley was showing Sarah photos from their scuba diving adventure, while Mike and Hayden argued playfully about tomorrow's hiking route. My phone buzzed. Terence had sent a video link. Thought you'd want to see this. It was security camera footage from a local casino back home, showing Brenda being escorted out by security, screaming about rigged slots and demanding to speak to managers. Karma really does come in waves, I murmured, showing the video to Hayden. Let me guess. Another medical emergency fund gone wrong? Probably the last one she'll have, I said. According to Terence, she's been officially banned from 3 casinos now. Ainsley leaned over. Is that Mom making a scene? Again. Some things never change, Hayden said, but his voice held no bitterness anymore, just acceptance and maybe a touch of pity. A waiter arrived with fresh drinks and a plate of local delicacies. "Compliments of the couple at the next table," he said. "They overheard your story earlier and wanted to share something." The couple waved, an older pair with kind faces. The woman came over, pulling up a chair. "I hope you don't mind," she said, "but I heard you talking about your mother-in-law situation. I went through something similar with my own mother. It took me 20 years to do what you did in 6 months. "Stand up to her?" I asked. "Set boundaries," she corrected. "There's a difference between revenge and revolution. You started a revolution." Sarah raised her glass. "To revolutions and real family." We all clinked glasses as the sun dipped lower over the Mediterranean. My phone buzzed again, this time a message from Aunt Carol. Brenda showed up at church asking for emergency funds. Pastor Thomas showed her the door, said something about gambling addiction resources instead. "No more enablers," Hayden said, reading over my shoulder. "No more audience for her performance." "Speaking of performances," Mike chimed in, "did you see her latest attempt on Facebook? I hadn't. We'd all blocked her months ago." Mike pulled up a mutual friend's screenshot. Brenda in her garden, looking appropriately tragic, caption reading, "Some wounds never heal, but God and my true friends know the real story." The comments section was empty except for one response. "Yes, we do know the real story. Every receipt of it." "That's the difference between revenge and justice," I said, remembering the older woman's words. "Revenge needs an audience. Justice just needs truth." Hayden squeezed my hand under the table. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for saving our family by breaking it first." "We didn't break it," I corrected. "We just exposed the cracks that were already there." The waiter returned with dessert menus, but before he could speak, Ainsley's phone rang, a number we all recognized. "Mom?" She put it on speaker. "Ainsley, baby, thank God. I've been trying to reach everyone. There's been a terrible misunderstanding at the casino, and I need—" "No." Ainsley's voice was firm but calm. "No more emergencies. No more money. No more manipulation." "But I'm your mother." "Yes, you are. And when you're ready to be honest about everything, we'll talk. Until then, goodbye." She hung up as Brenda was mid-protest. The table was quiet for a moment before Sarah started slow clapping. "That," she said, "was beautiful." Ainsley blushed. "I learned from the best." She raised her glass to me. "To the daughter-in-law who taught us all how to grow spines." "To truth," Hayden added. "To consequences," Mike chimed in. "To real family," I finished. As the stars began appearing over the Aegean Sea, I thought about karma and consequences, about truth and timing. Brenda had wanted a cruise to escape her lies, but instead she got a tidal wave of reality. Meanwhile, here we were, her former emotional hostages, free and happy on the vacation she'd tried to guilt us into funding. The older woman from the next table caught my eye and winked. She was right. This hadn't been about revenge. It was about revolution, about changing the rules of engagement, about deciding that love doesn't mean letting someone drown you in their lies. Hayden pulled me closer as the waiter brought our desserts. "Happy?" he asked. I looked around at our real family, not bound by guilt or manipulation, but by choice and truth, and smiled. "Absolutely," I said. "Pass the baklava. Let Brenda keep her garden of lies and her social media performances. We had something better, authentic relationships built on honest ground, and unlike her cruise ship of manipulation, This was one vessel that would never sink.